Hi, welcome to the news for Dummies. So in France this week, a guy called Jerome Rodriguez was injured by a grenade. Police officer threw this grenade on a demonstration for sort of crowd control, and I think some of the shrapnel from the grenade hit him in the eye, and he's now blinded. This guy, Jerome Rodriguez. I think the tactics the French are using are ridiculous. Really, it's fueling the whole situation there. Everyone's getting angry, more angry as these things develop. These stories come out, people dying and getting injured. I think, it's kicking off in France big time. This is not going to go away very quickly. It's going to drag on for indefinitely until that political situation sorts out, until maybe Macron resigns or there's a new election, or I don't know. There's a lot of shit happening in France. The working class obviously sounds like they're getting fucked over a little bit, not getting paid enough. Similar story in the UK actually, with Tim Martin and Owen Jones recently had a confrontation in Wetherspoon's pub. Tim Martin was going around Wetherspoon's on a tour. He's going around the UK on a tour, and he's checking in all his Wetherspoon's pubs. And Owen Jones confronted him about poverty wages, and Tim Martin sort of didn't answer any of the questions. Why he was paying low wages? Apparently he's not paying the living wage, which is £10 an hour, I think. I think Wetherspoons are paying around £8 per hour. That does result in the government having to top up these low wages. So normal taxpayers, like teachers, nurses, people like that, have to top up these low-paid workers because the companies themselves aren't paying enough wages. Instead, that money is going offshore, maybe to tax havens or in the pockets of the likes of Tim Martin or shareholders. And the shareholders are usually very wealthy people, aristocrats. Basically, anyone that's in the top sort of 1% own most of the stock market. So it's basically just empowering the rich, and they're not paying taxes on that money probably either. So it's a double whammy for the British taxpayer, really. You can see why everything's happening in Western Europe at the moment. Everyone's kicking off mostly because of inequality. Low wages, stagnant wages, climate change. Everyone seems to be angry because of these issues. The governments don't seem to be addressing them very well at all. The UK government's handling Brexit very, very badly. I just don't see any possible solutions in the short term that they're going to come up with, because they just seem incompetent of coming up with any ideas of how to fix anything. So we just have to ride this out and see what happens, really. We just hopefully, maybe in a year's time, everything's settled down, or could be worse. It's a flip of a coin, to be honest with you. No one actually knows what's going to happen. It's like there's so many outcomes that it's basically a Russian roulette of what happens in these places like for Brexit and in Europe, and the banks in Italy that are insolvent, massively in debt. Same as in America, a lot of banks are struggling there, some small banks. Trump has overinflated the stock market, it did crash in December, and it's probably going to crash further this year. There's probably going to be recessions in America and across Western Europe because of all these problems in France, in Brexit, in Italy. It's just not; these issues aren't going away overnight. We could see another 2008 crisis, probably worse actually than 2008, because the interest rates are low. They don't have any mechanisms to fix any of these issues that from 2008. They've just made the problem worse. They've more debt, household debt. People are more in debt on credit cards, on loans, on cars and mortgages, and people don't have the money. On top of that, government has huge piles of debt, and then also, there's the pension debt. There's all sorts of problems with debt around the world at the moment, and to be honest, I can't see any of it being paid off, especially student debts as well. They're just not going to be paid off. The people haven't got the jobs after finishing university to pay sufficient amounts of money to pay this debt off. It's just going to be defaulted, and the taxpayer have to pick up the bills. Automation, robots are coming in, taking people's jobs. In Davos recently, there's basically a convention full of rich people. They go to meet up, they discuss political and basically current affairs. They try and make themselves richer, probably. I don't know what goes on in Davos, but one of the things that come out of Davos is apparently they're talking about artificial intelligence and robots, and they're talking about how they can replace their workforce. But it just doesn't seem right to me. I mean, on one hand, I can see why companies are desperate to automate their staff, automate their workplace, because they're going to save a shitload of money, and they're going to make their shareholders think. These companies only think the next 2 or 3 quarters. I mean, if there's too many people unemployed, it's just going to cause more civil unrest, and it's going to cause. And I don't see who buys and purchases these services and goods if people aren't earning any money in the first place. If people just sat at home, they expect governments just to top up everyone's income. Or, I have heard of issues. I have heard of things like basic income. The governments can pay basic income to everyone, which is basically a living wage. No strings attached is a solution, but they've got to tax these companies a shitload of money to be able to do that, and at the moment they're not doing it. They're just giving tax breaks and more concessions every year, so everything needs to be reversed. So I think, automation is a big issue. In 2019, I think we're going to see a lot of redundancies because AI the speed of automation is happening very, very quickly. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, the thing that's going to come out this year, I think, is driverless cars is going to be a big one. In America, in some cities, they've already got driverless cars on the road. I think it's Atlanta. So it's certainly going to be rolled out quicker than you think. Watch the space. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, taxi drivers and lorry drivers aren't going to be very happy, are they? So, but then again, I know a lot of people don't like their jobs, so maybe this is a positive. If all the jobs are automated, maybe this is the beginning of the no work world. So that is a possibility, that no one has a job. The fundamentals of the whole world has changed. I mean, we just go back to how we were 200,000 years ago, when people just sort of did bits and pieces. They sort of collected food. They made things. I think maybe this is what the future is. Maybe people, more local sort of organisation on a local level, coming together, and communities coming together. This is like a utopian dream that could happen as a result of automation. Obviously, the other outcome of automation is terrible. The bad outcome is that everyone's peasants basically, and all the rich people in their gated communities, just with their sort of huge farms and land or whatever they're sat on, and all the rich people sort of like looking up, trying to get in basically. But I can't see that happening really. I mean, there's too many people you can't stop everyone from kicking off. You need to, the only way is basically to wipe them out through some sort of genetic engineering. You can't stop a revolution unless you manipulate it through some dirty tactic of basically killing millions of people. Perhaps what they're doing that with climate change, who knows? But so we'll just watch the space, and 2019 could be messy. On the other hand, we might come out 2020 better. Maybe we'll have a decent president of America. We'll have better politicians running Brexit and in the UK, and hopefully the same as in France. There's all these ideas of these populist governments have basically fallen flat on their arse, and hopefully it's all resolved. Anyway, I'll come back to you with another episode in maybe a week or two, just update you on more goings on in the world. Cheers.